Imagine for a second that you found a philosophy, a way of life that explained everything. The uncertainties, the bad things that happen, the randomness of so much that happens to us, what we should be doing every day. Now imagine that you might never get the answers to any of those questions, that you might never know the reason behind the things that happen. How would you feel? If your answer is that you don't care why these things happen, congratulations, you're on your first step to becoming a Stoic. Stoic philosophy doesn't concern itself with the things that are outside of our control. It's all about controlling the one thing we can truly control, ourselves. It's about living with temperance, with wisdom, with virtue, with justice. Ultimately, Stoics say that the highest goal in life is just to live a life of virtue, a life of moral excellence. It's a life of integrity, a life where we help other people and live true to our core values. I first started reading about Stoic philosophy a little over a year ago, and it's slowly changed my outlook on life since then. I've always wrestled with questions of meaning and significance, constantly searching for answers to questions like, how do we find meaning as humans in this life? How do we balance patience and ambition? How can I live in the present instead of constantly thinking about the future? You know, I was kind of like Yoda described Luke Skywalker. All his life, he has looked away to the future, to the horizon, never his mind on where he was, what he was doing. Stoicism has helped me to slowly become content with the present, to stop thinking so much about the future, about my worries, about my ambitions, about my insecurities, and just to focus on the now. So with that said, here are the 3 biggest lessons I've learned from Stoic philosophy that have changed the way I think. First, though, we need to define exactly what Stoic philosophy is. Famous Stoic philosopher and Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote this: "If at some point in your life you should come across anything better than justice, truth, self-control, courage, it must be an extraordinary thing indeed." That kind of sums up what Stoic philosophy is at its core. It's about always pursuing the truth. It's about pursuing knowledge. It's about living in accordance with your core values. It's about bravely pursuing difficult things that line up with your core values, even when you're scared or even in the face of obstacles. And ultimately, it tells us how to act at all times, whether we're facing good things or bad things. So the first lesson that Stoicism has shown me over the past year is that I need to always tell the truth about myself. Especially to myself, but also to other people. I've gone through phases in my life of both insecurity and grandiose self-confidence. At times I've been too afraid to create anything, to take a risk, to put myself out there for fear of rejection, for fear that I wasn't good enough. Other times, when I've been in a good streak of productivity and hard work, I've started to feel really good about myself. I feel like I can achieve my biggest dreams if I just put my mind to it and work hard. Neither of those things is the right answer. The truth is somewhere in the middle, and it's that I need to look at both the good and the bad, both my positive qualities and my shortcomings, to assess who I am and what I do. You know, instead of getting caught up inside my own head and my own self-confidence and insecurity, all I need to do is look at the truth of who I am and what I do. Stoicism teaches that actions, not words, are what tell the true character of a person. You know, it's not what you think or what you say, but what you actually do on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's why Stoicism places such an emphasis on reflection, because that's the only real way for us to see who we are by our actions. You know, of course, other people see our actions and hear our words, and they can kind of discern who we are. But for ourselves, we so often put lenses or filters on our own actions or on our thoughts to kind of overcomplicate this self-image we have. And so instead of constantly overanalyzing who I am or who I want to be, all I need to do is take a look at my actions. Look at my actions over the past day. How many of the things I did, aligned with my core values, with the things I want to do, and how many of the things I did were self-destructive behaviors or things that don't align with what I want to do. And ultimately, the sum of all those actions makes up who I am. And when I do kind of get to that point where I'm able to assess myself just through actions, a lot becomes so much simpler. I don't need to overanalyze if people like me, for example. All I need to do is look at their actions towards me and my actions towards them. And it doesn't matter if they like me or if I like them. All that matters is, when we're together, do our actions show that we enjoy spending time with each other? And when I do get to that point where I'm able to adequately assess myself through my actions, everything becomes so much simpler. There's no more worrying about if other people like me or don't. All I need to do is assess their actions and my actions. And I can be a lot more honest with other people, but especially with myself. I can be honest about my bad qualities and not sugarcoat them to myself. And I don't need to beat myself up when I fall short. I can be honest with myself. And, it's all about living in temperance and in alignment with my values. So all I need to do is evaluate how I'm living and not judge myself for it, but just honestly evaluate it. The second lesson I've learned from Stoicism is that self-mastery is the goal that's most important. People have always had dreams of traveling the world, amassing crazy amounts of wealth, building empires, making a lasting difference in the world, being remembered. And now with the age of social media and the internet, we get to share those dreams even more than we ever have before. And of course, I used to hold a lot of similar dreams like that. I wanted to change the world. I wanted to make an impact on a lot of people. I wanted to really solve some of the world's problems and also just entertain the world, help them, become a little more okay with being human with this experience. I had a lot of dreams of the impact I wanted to have. But Stoicism has shown me that self-mastery is really the only thing that's guaranteed. Our dreams may never come about, even if we put in all of the hard work, even if we grind, even if we do everything right, we may never achieve those big dreams. But self-mastery is within our control. We can seek to get better every day. Aristotle says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit." That's the goal of my life now, excellence. Excellence in myself, in improving my craft a little bit every day, and excellence in my relationships with other people, with the people I love the most. That's all. I may never get a big break. I may never get lucky and make it famous or have the impact I wanted to have. But excellence is the one thing I can control. And of course, it's great to have those other goals in the back of your mind as well. I haven't given up on the ways I want to change the world, but I'm acknowledging that those aren't completely within my control and making my primary goal, the one I think about every day, the one that dictates my daily actions, a goal that's completely within my control. Finally, the third big lesson Stoicism has taught me is the importance of reflection. In a lot of ways, I've always been the person to do first, think later. I throw out the instruction booklet to furniture before I've even looked at it or attempted to build the furniture. I say things before I think about what I want to say, and a lot of times I do things before I think about the consequences of those actions. But Stoicism teaches us the value of temperance, and of course the other direction isn't healthy either, overanalyzing without ever actually doing, spending too much time worrying or thinking without doing it. Again, as with pretty much everything, the answer is right in the middle. The philosopher Seneca said that before he went to bed, quote, "I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by." I think reflection in this way, whether at the end of the day or in the morning, is a really important step for understanding, what we're doing each day, how that aligns with our values, what we want to change, just going over the day, how we felt about everything that happened. And habitually getting into this kind of self-reflection at the end of the day, especially through journaling, gets us into the habit of doing it throughout the day. As we get used to examining our own actions, we'll start to do it more and more often throughout the day and before we take an action. So those are the three big lessons that Stoicism has taught me over the past year. It's transformed me from someone who looks always to the future, whose goals are always future oriented, to someone who's able to be content with the present. It's transformed me into someone whose focus is just solely on improving my craft and everything else feels secondary, and someone who takes the time for reflection and then actually uses those reflections as a way to change my actions. If any of these lessons or stories resonate with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm still kind of in the process of learning exactly what my life's philosophy should look like and what my day-to-day philosophy should look like. And that's something I reflect on a lot. So if you found a personal philosophy that works for you, I'd love to hear what that is and how it affects your day-to-day actions. Thanks for watching.